Finally, a fast start this season for the Tigers. We'll talk about it right here on Locked On Clemson.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Tiger fans? Morgan Thomas here, Clemson fan, Clemson grad, host and producer of Locked On Clemson, part-time host and producer over on 105.5 FM The Roar. Thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen of the day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if you're an everydayer, thank you. We give you a big salute out there for coming in Monday through Friday, every single week, right here on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're new to the show, welcome in. Thanks for making this show a part of your day. We hope you like it. If you do, hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss another episode. Today, we got a ton of stuff to talk about with the fast start and the defense and Clemson getting their first ACC win. But before we get into it, I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. Clemson finally looked like the team that we wanted to see this past weekend against the Tar Heels, at least the team in the first 15 minutes. The Clemson Tigers looked really good. They had to execute. They had to come out early, strong. Their scripted plays needed to look like they knew what they were doing, and they definitely did that. Clemson came out, scored 28 points in the first quarter, 253 total yards in the first quarter. 233 of those yards were from passing the ball, 8 first downs, and controlled the clock very well as well. So Clemson did a great job in the first quarter. Is it possible that the Tar Heels are just terrible? Yes, it is possible, and I will go ahead and tell you that they are just bad. They're a bad team. You go back and watch the replay, they're just bad all over the place. So there are teams worse than Clemson. We knew that statistically this team would be one of those teams that Clemson should be able to beat, and they were able to do that. But Clemson still had to execute the plays. And if you're anyone like me, you probably agreed that Clemson did not seem like a team you could really count on to hang on to those plays. But they did come out extremely strong. And one thing they did start strong. The second thing they did was win by the spread on a road game. That is a dominant win. They need it no matter what. They needed a win. I mean, you can't keep doing what they were doing because that was a nightmare. And they changed a few things that I think we could see some improvements on the team. If you're a diehard everydayer like here on Locked On, you probably still have some thoughts of, okay, this was a win, a 28-point win, but still kind of some, it wasn't perfect. But hey, you know what? A win is a win. We'd rather have a win, as Dabo says. There's still some stuff on the floor when you're a good team winning. But when you're a bad team losing, the stuff there, is easy to be pointed out. You ignore it when you're a good team and you're winning. When you're bad and you're losing, you kind of like point it out and say, hey, this doesn't look right, right? So I would rather be on the other side, right? Because even the good teams in Clemson's history have been not perfect. They've had some things that's frustrated you, that's frustrated us, and that just you wanted to avoid at all costs because it could get them in trouble. So good teams do that really well. They avoid the stuff that gets them into trouble. And Clemson, for this year so far, really hasn't been able to do that. But the script this game was really good. The aggression worked really well. Right out the gate, the double pass to Antonio Williams, to TJ Moore, 75-yard touchdown, set the tone. It gave that team like a confidence boost that they needed. It's just like one of those trick shots, right? I mean, it's a trick play, but yes, you could probably say it's gimmicky in a lot of ways, but just something like that, any kind of spark you can get, you're going to take it right now and try to bottle it up. And I mean, for the most part, Cade did really well for the 2 1/3, maybe 2 1/4 quarters that he played, because in the third quarter he didn't really play. He got one opportunity, I believe, and that was it. But he finished 22 for 24 with 4 touchdowns, on the stat sheet, that looks great. He joins Patrick Mahomes in the Friday Night Trivia Club against a Bill Belichick team to be able to do that. And his ability to kind of, as Dabo Swinney said, start to go through progressions, I think is a good sign for the future. Now, here's the thing, though. I don't want to all give you a bunch of sunshine, because the truth is the rest of the game, the first quarter was really good, but the rest of the game kind of got really, really slow, and felt very sleepy. And there was no fans around other than Clemson fans. So maybe there was some of that, but it wasn't a complete game. It was a very good first quarter, but not a complete game. And I wouldn't say a very good 3 other quarters. They just did so good in the first quarter that the other 3 were really kind of on the back burner. And when we're looking at what they did well, I mean, you've got to like Adam Randall. I tweeted that he is a megastar for Clemson. Adam Randall has been way more than I think anybody would have ever expected him to be. He's just been so great out of the backfield. It makes me wish that we could somehow invent a way for him to play another season at Clemson. He just brings that kind of energy and leadership, and he does maximum effort every single play, whether it's blocking, whether it's going out in the flats, whether it's going down the field in a wheel route, running motions, just typically running traditional run plays. I mean, Adam Randall has been such a huge blessing for this team in 2025. And I don't think anybody expected him to be as good as he has been. He's been as advertised and more. And I told you this in preseason. I told you that when I saw him run the ball, I was like, in the practice drills, I thought, wow, this guy looks like what you see when you go to NFL training camps. I mean, he just looks the part, and he is that kind of dual threat. I believe he's solidified himself as getting into the NFL draft as a running back, and he's going to be one that I believe, if you're a smart coach in the NFL, you're going to go with Adam Randall, because he's a great young man. He's a leader on your team. He's going to put in the work, and he's going to play any position any way possible that he can to help the team out. And he's actually really good at playing running back at the college level. So more touches for Adam Randall. I don't really care where they're from, whether it be running touches, because they didn't really do it that well against the run against North Carolina, which was shocking, because the other teams like TCU and UCF, they both actually ran very well against the Tar Heels. Clemson couldn't seem to figure it out. The running game really total 89 yards rushing. That's not anything to really write home about there, but you really like what they did. They had a ton of success in the passing game. They had almost 500 yards passing. Love what you did with Adam Randall. Love what you did with Christian Bentaker in the red zone, 2 touchdowns. This is a guy now that needs automatic touches in every quarter. He needs automatic touches every single quarter, especially when you get in the red zone. Another guy that needs automatic touches, and I don't mean bubble screen touches. Give the screens to Tyler Brown and Antonio Williams and Cole Turner if you want to, and Adam Randall. Give them to those guys. Tristan Smith needs to catch the jump balls because he's good at that. Like, stop making him do stuff that he's not that good at. And then nobody blocks for him anyways. So, what I will say is Tristan Smith getting in snaps, getting early in the rotation, getting those jump balls. He's too good to leave off the field. I know that they have 3 wide receivers that are extremely good, and Wesco, Williams, and Moore. And you really don't want to take those guys off the field. I get it. But Tristan Smith is too good to leave on the bench the whole game. You got to have design plays for everybody out there, including Bentaker, including Wesco, including Moore, including Williams. And the thing is, and including Adam Randall. But if you're Garrett Riley, you're loving that. You're loving that. It's complicated, but you're also loving it too. So I love how they spread it around at the very first quarter. Again, the rest of the game, kind of felt a little bit sleepy, but 15.8 yards per play in the first quarter. More of that. 19 for 20 passing. 8 penalties, I think, in one drive later on. But, I will say this. The offense got loud early. The defense brought the juice too. We'll talk about the defense and Tom Allen right here in segment 2 on Locked On Clemson. Hey, Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan and stay motivated and reach peak performance. I love how Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights to use, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Tom Allen moved from the box to the sideline, and the defense seemed to have a new life to it. And we want to see more of that. We loved what we saw from Tom Allen and his energy. He's such an energetic guy. He's such an in-your-face dude. And he needs to be out there for his players to see him doing that. Now, maybe he could get up there in the box and kind of call things and see things from a different perspective. But there's got to be somebody he trusts up there to take his place. Maybe it'll be his son. Maybe it'll be someone else. I don't know who, but I got to tell you, Tom Allen's got to stay on the sidelines. He just brings too much energy to the team as a whole. It wasn't just a coincidence. They did it with purpose. They knew what they needed to do. They knew that not only the offense needed a spark with the trick play with Antonio Williams, a guy that they can trust and leaning on your leaders, but also on the defensive side of the ball, a guy like Tom Allen moving to the sideline, someone that they could trust to make that decision and to push this team forward. Hey, the Tar Heels are not a good team. We know that. But overall, Clemson did a really good job. Game total for third downs, 2 for 11. So just 18% and 0 for 1 on fourth down. So they really shut them down when they needed it the most. And hey, get this, they didn't run all over them. All this time, we got so frustrated over Clemson letting up big gash run plays over and over and over. 57 rushing yards with a guy like Damon June that I felt like was going to be a guy who could contribute to this Tar Heel team because and even though he's a freshman, he was really good. We talked about him last week. The Tar Heels finished with only 270 yards, and that's never good. 6 3-and-outs on 12 drives and a -1 yard after their first drive in the first quarter. The longest play really was only 21 yards. So really, to me, Clemson locked down on defense as much as they did on offense. Now, there were some times later on in the third and fourth quarter where they kind of let up a little bit. But here's the thing. I want to be critical with it, but I also have to realize that for up until about halfway through the third quarter, the first string was in there. And then after the halfway through the third quarter and then in the fourth quarter, Dabo was really playing his rotations very high. So it's hard to say what caused certain things. Could it be just the lack of experience or, younger players getting on the field or lack of talent there? But if you look at the second half, the Tar Heels did have more total yards, 192 to 121. But rushing yards, they still kind of flatlined there. In the first half, 12 rushing yards. In the second half, 45 rushing yards. So a little bit better, but not super great. In the first half, passing yards, 66. Terrible, right? In the second half, passing yards, they had 147. So as you can tell, Clemson's second string and third string guys are giving up a lot more passing yards than the first stringers. So it is some of that on offense and defense, just getting those rotations in. What you did like to see was guys like Steph Island Green getting in the backfield, disrupting things, getting some sacks. Will Helt, Jaheim Lawson, TJ Parker, and Peter Woods all performed really well. The communication seemed to be a little bit better with Tom Allen on the field. They set the edge a little bit better as well. They cut the perimeter throws off. They are thin. They are thin in areas where when they got into the second string and the third string, you didn't really like it, especially in the secondary and the pass coverage. You don't really know how you feel about that. And I got to say this, we are we're talking about 2025, but us as true fans that are going to stick with Clemson, and we're not just a one season fan, we're thinking about 2026 too. And we know that the coaches have to be in some ways as well. So considering we're thinking about 2026 as well, this game made you not as confident with the backups. Unfortunately, you got to see them. We've been begging to see them. Like, you're losing these games and we're just not seeing them. And then you see them and you're like, okay, maybe we know why we're not seeing them, because, they're not great. They're not popping off the screen or anything. It kind of got sleepy, as I mentioned later on in the game. So I do believe when we talk about 2026, that Clemson at this point has got to go heavy in the portal. I don't see a lot of answers from recruiting. And so in that case, you got to go heavy in the portal. I mean, they're probably going to have to go heavier than we thought for 2026. I mean, if Dabo does not, then he's again blinded himself with loyalty, as we know he can do at certain times, but he's got to go in the portal and get some better players that are going to be ready. Because we just seen it. We've seen it far too often. You can't give guys 3 and 4 years to show us what they got. I mean, this is the day and age in college football where the transfer portal has made that wake up and development period much shorter, because you can just go get somebody else who is further along down the line in the development aspect. So the sideline and Tom Allen's visibility, though, created a lot of sense of urgency, created that, direct feedback with the defense. And, I believe that any sort of energy that you can find, any sort of a spark that you can find, really helped Clemson overall. I mean, if you look half by half, Clemson won the time of possession as well. 17 minutes in the first half, 15 minutes in the second half. So more than half on both sides. So definitely had the ball much longer. The offense had more opportunities, and the defense shut them down very well. Is it Tom Allen's location, or is it North Carolina's dysfunction? Can I give you a 50-50 split on that? Because we got to be honest, the North Carolina, I thought the North Carolina offense was a little bit better than what we saw. The good thing is they're not. So Clemson's defense did exactly what we expected them to do. Shut them down almost every single aspect. Clemson's offense, I mean, you could probably chalk a lot of that up to having the backups in there as well. I don't like that they really struggled in certain areas. You still saw some problems. Cade Klubnik's still not throwing the ball on time in a lot of ways. He's staying in the pocket more, which is great. You want him to do that. I mentioned that I'd like to see Cade just take more sacks. I know it's terrible to say, but he just got to sit in the pocket and take a sack here or there, get hit, and if you get hit hard, then pop up and yell at your offensive line. I am concerned about the offensive line and that second string. The guards are just not that good, and the backups are still kind of, I mean, they're starting to go to freshman backups now because, I mean, they've got people that are not freshmen, but you're not seeing them, and they're not able to get out there. And so these guys that I get that offensive line takes longer to develop. But in the day and age of transfer portal, you don't have to wait that long. You don't have to wait 3 and 4 years for guys to develop. You can go into transfer portal and find somebody that may be just a little bit further along that you can actually use and trust. So Clemson's going to have to do that on the offense and on the defense as well, because they're going to lose players. I could see Clemson's going to need more secondary, more safeties, more cornerbacks. They're going to need more linebackers, and they're going to need more defensive ends or defensive interior linemen. They're going to need a lot on defense. They're going to need a lot on offense. It's just the fact. They might not need a ton on wide receivers. They might not need a ton on tight ends, but offensive line, quarterback, running back, secondary as a whole, defense as a whole, they're going to need some more guys that can step up quickly and be ready. So, some of that is a great game overall. Great win for Clemson. A lot of yards, more than half of them in the first half. And so you like that. But there's still a lot left to be kind of questioned about, what's the future of this team? How would I grade Tom Allen? Well, I think Tom Allen gets a definite A in this situation. And I would probably give Garrett Riley a B just because, they slowed down. They didn't score any in this. I mean, they scored one field goal in the second half, so they kind of slowed down a lot after the first big time first quarter. All right, let's pack up the formula and get ready to take it on the road to go to Boston College for a night game against the Eagles. We'll talk about it right here in segment 3 on Locked on Clemson. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make a neighborhood feel like home, whether it's a sports bar packed on game day, the coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or the local deli that's been a part of the community for decades. These places bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole community thrives right along with them. And behind the scenes, many of those spots are powered by Square. Just like Chestnut Coffee House and Market, where the focus is on unity, hospitality, and creating a moment of pause in your day. They're a family that is big time Clemson Tiger fans, and businesses like these turn to daily routines into community rituals. Square helps make the connection more possible. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be glad you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your first bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you can unlock $300 in bonus bets to play with. Whether you're into player props like I do, or parlays, or even those live lines that I'm going to get into this week during the game, FanDuel gives you endless ways to play, and it's super easy. The app is super easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com and join. Download the FanDuel app today to get started. On to Boston. BYOG. Bring your own guts. It might be a little bit colder up there. You're going to face up Bill O'Brien. He's not doing very well, and he just lost 48-7 against Pittsburgh with just 27 rush yards and 24 attempts. Not very good. The offense struggled to do anything. Clemson has opened up, get this, a 14.5-point favorite. And you got to think, I didn't take them last week in the 14.5 points because I said they needed to prove to me that they could do it. Well, winning by 28 did it for me. So I would take Clemson minus the 14.5. They have won 12 straight in the series and overall 13-1 against BC since joining the ACC. What do they need to do? So what is the checklist, if you will? Well, the first thing is, whatever they did in the first quarter, they got to do that again. So whatever they did against the North Carolina Tar Heels in the first quarter, they got to do again. And I think heavy doses of Adam Randall, heavy doses of Christian Bentaker, Tristan Smith. You just got to really rotate your wide receivers. You got to have planned play calls for all of them. Script the open, carry it through. And maybe like, don't have a game where you're trying to get in so many other backups. We kind of seen them and we don't really know how we feel about it. But if you get up 21, I'm okay with it. I mean, at the end of the day, you do need to see what you can do in 2026, but you can't take it for granted. No games are taken for granted with this team because you've got to carry forward what you did in the first quarter, first half against the Tar Heels and try to show that you can do a complete game. Again, I'm okay if it doesn't feel complete, if it feels sleepy, if it's a bunch of backups, but even those backups need to be held to best as the standard. They need to get, they need to be held accountable to what, to the highest level, right? Play clean too. Like to get rid of that crazy penalty where it was first bunch of penalties where it was 1st and 40. I mean, the offensive line, okay. The offensive line is still a lot to just be frustrated about. You don't always trust Tristan Smith or Blake Miller, but they're probably the best you got. But maybe those two guys are better than anybody you could have found in the portal, but they're not all first team all ACC guys. If they are, the betting, the voting is rigged. They're not first all conference guys in the ACC. And Clemson has had first team all conference guys back in the past, and these guys are just not it. The guards really, they rotate through. We saw the backup guards, we saw the starting guards. I mean, you could even say Walker Parks with all of his experience. They're just not that athletic. I mean, yeah, they could bench press me and probably throw me over a house. Don't get me wrong, but that's not their goal. Their goal is not to go up against guys like me. Their goal is to go up against guys, that are their size that they can dominate against. And they just really struggled against a weak Tar Heel team. They struggled to kind of push them around. They did much better in pass blocking, but the run blocking kind of disappeared. So finding efficiency while keeping that rotation going. I love Adam Randall. I love him, but I love the rotation with Easy Omume and Gideon Davidson. That's what you really should have been seeing, was drives that are for Gideon Davidson, drives that are for Easy Omume, so that those guys can get some reps and continue to play strong and keep healthy throughout the whole season. You can't do another 2024 where you run one running back to death. You just can't do it. So finding that efficiency, obviously, as I said in segment 2, keep Tom Allen on the field, whatever you can do. Keep that communication going. And I'd like to see some takeaways. Clemson started the season strong with takeaways, and now they kind of dried up a little bit. So, love to see some more of that as well. Continue the success in the red zone, with what you have with Christian Bentaker, I think is special there. So keep tapping into that. Now, the only thing is, the more you use it, the more people will be planning on it. But if you get good at it, I mean, who can stop Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes? Who could stop Tom Brady and Gronk? I mean, at the end of the day, if you get good at it, then it's like the Clemson teams of old. It's like, okay, hey, we know that you're thinking you're going to stop us, but try and stop us, because you're not going to be able to. Clemson has enough weapons as well to where you can't just pick on one guy. You can't just triple or double coverage one guy, There were some things that still stuck out, Cade ignoring certain things, late passes, throwing into triple coverage deep. Some things you'll allow to slide, but also as a fan, we all know, like, if you allow it to slide a lot in practice or against teams like that you're obviously beating, well, then what is going to happen when you play a team that's actually any good? You let it slide all season. You let it slide against all the bad teams. You let it slide in practice. Oh, well, Cade threw into triple coverage. Oh, shucks. Well, it was more like a punt. Oh, shucks. No. This is still important. Oh, well, Cade threw it late and behind the guy, but Christian Bentaker caught it and got a touchdown. Yeah, but Cade needs to be held to a high standard, because there will get games where it's going to be hard to win. And being precise is what matters the most in those games. But I like where Clemson is going with it. Clemson has an edge against Boston College. They needed this confidence boost to push them through. They have the talent. We know that. If you wanted me to script it up for Boston College, I'd still say come out as fast and as strong as you can. Come out with some of your most lethal plays, and really just have design plays to highlight the strengths of your offensive weapons, and keep Tom Allen out there fighting for that defense, fighting with the defense out there on the sideline. Hey, let me know in the comments over on YouTube what you think, if you agree or disagree. I always love hearing your comments. And if you're not over there, if you listen on podcasts, you can always follow me over on X at The Morgan T Show, where I'm always down to talk about the Clemson Tigers. So thank you so much again for making Locked On Clemson your first listen of the day. It is another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation, a longtime two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to the Monday edition of Locked On Clemson. We'll see you here tomorrow to continue discussing the win against the Tar Heels and start previewing the Boston College matchup right here on Locked On Clemson. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.